All right, welcome back to the channel, to my great boxing fans. We are going to have another good conversation in this video. This one will be about the aftermath of Showtime Boxing shutting down on the Errol Spence Terence Crawford rematch, and also some inside sources letting me know that there are some questions being asked by the PBC itself, and those questions are being asked of Errol Spence Jr. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video we are going to be in the 147-pound division, where we have had some very good times last year, culmination to what should be or may be a culmination to a big battle going on in 147 for a lot of years, and questions being asked about what is going to take place next. Had a conversation with people that have good inside information with some management and the Premier Boxing champions, and going to let you know some of the feelings that were going on around Terence Crawford and this Errol Spence Jr. rematch that may very well have great effect as we head into whatever the next steps for the PBC are. And it's kind of a situation where things are in the end what they were in the beginning, and it seems as if they don't want that fight. And this should not come as a surprise before, because it was apparent that the PBC didn't, at least it was to me, that the PBC did not want the first fight. Had said that a bunch of times. Now, that is different from saying why they did not want it or that Errol did not want it, but it was very clear from the entire time that Errol was the one that was really pushing that fight forward. And win or lose, I believe that the situation would have stayed the same from the perspective of the PBC relative to that fight. Now, my sources are telling me, or these are sources that are out there, and other people have them, so it's not super special. However, it is important to note that the PBC, again, is not overly interested in a fight between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, and this is despite the ticket sales and the gate that they did in the last fight and the revenue that they did in the last fight. Now, before I get into the details of it, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so we can talk boxing, which we do on a daily basis. I know we get on the same subjects often, but at the root of them, I think a lot of the things that we talk about are important to understand the overall sport of boxing, and specifically the business of boxing. I'm going to drop a couple more videos today, and on the underlying theme of a lot of it is going to be business, because some people say, you know, this is the business of boxing. It's not the business of boxing. It's just business, and boxing is the product. You want to consider it a service, fine, but it's a service in between certain people when they are contracting with each other. However, for us, it is a product that we buy, and other people sell to us. Business is business. Boxing, making shoes, the vast majority of those core principles are transfer between all businesses, all the way from a lemonade stand to Google. And I'll talk about that because this has a lot to do with why I think they don't want this. The PBC doesn't want to do this Errol Spence Jr. Terence Crawford rematch. Now, many people are going to say that it's because of the fact that Terence Crawford won the fight and they don't think that Errol Spence Jr. can win the fight, right? And they may not think that the fight is as sellable or profitable in this time around because of what the first fight looked like, and saying, hey man, this will be a harder fight to sell. And that may be very, 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 very true. However, you can also look at it from the point of view, and I know that people do look at this from the point of view of what can you do with Errol Spence that will make more money than you can with Terence Crawford, right? Because if you say, I don't think we can make a lot of money off this, I don't want to do the fight, then you have to say, well, okay, well, what do you want to do? Errol Spence is not somebody that they're just going to brush to the side, right? So they are more than likely also thinking, I can do these three things with Errol Spence Jr. and we can make more money than we would if we fought Terence Crawford. And they have to be thinking about it over a series of a few fights, because that's how it works. You can have a fight, right? Take, for example, I think a great example of this was the hesitancy of Bob Arum to make the fight early on with Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao. And you look at how much money Bob Arum made with Manny Pacquiao by not taking that fight, and eventually taking that fight when it was at, okay, this fight can't go any longer, let's make the fight now because now's the time. If he would have fought him earlier, he would have missed out on maybe 4 or 5 million pay-per-view buys, pay-per-views, if he had went straight to that. So you could very well look at Errol and say, look, man, Errol, how important is your get back for you? Do you want to fight him now and have the sales not do as well, or do you want to go through a series of fights that we can make for you that are all going to do good numbers, and through the course of 3 fights, you may make more money, and also allows, because there's another party to this agreement, which is the PBC itself, will also allow us to get more content out, allow other PBC fighters to get fight dates, and just generate more money in this PBC boxing ecosystem than we would otherwise. So I don't have any doubt that the PBC would be hesitant or not as interested in the rematch for a variety of reasons. But again, as I said in the beginning of the video, I don't think that they were particularly excited about doing business with Terence Crawford the first time around. And you heard it in the tone of Tim Smith, who's the director of the media relations, where he said, look, well, we would want to pay him. He's going to want way more money than what we're going to pay, than we're going to want to pay him. And what happened? That's exactly what happened. You also have to take into consideration how much you have to pay Terence Crawford, and how strenuous the negotiations for the littlest thing are going to be. So now you couple that with shifting into another network after Showtime shuts down. Man, hey man, it's not a situation probably that the PBC is overly interested in. So when people are saying that the PBC really doesn't want that fight, I mean, not only because I've heard it from sources that I trust. Also, if you look at it, it makes sense. The person is really going to want that fight and probably still has the ability to force that fight is Errol Spence Jr. Because as long as they can make it profitable, the PBC is not going to completely turn its nose up at it. However, if Terence Crawford is having really big demands, and then Errol Spence Jr. has to start coming out of his pocket or coming out of his end in order to satisfy Terence, to make sure that the thing actually goes off, may not take place. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.